Hello and welcome to Got Ahead. This is part of our series about forget-me-nots. Those really useful tools in your learning toolkit that are going to make you the best possible learner you can be. We've already looked at axes to grind. We've got a general outline, and if you haven't looked at that clip already, I would go back and have a look because it explains how it is, how it works. Today, we're going to look at how you can use axes to grind with QWERTY. We talked before about how there are different roles that you have to fulfill as a learner, and axes to grind is there as a judge. It helps you work out what things are best, what things will help you, and in particular, what things will make you more efficient as a learner. So where do we use axes to grind in QWERTY? Well, the first place is in question, or strictly speaking, before question, because it's helping you set yourself up to answer what you want to have in your question stage. It helps define your question, because you need to know, first of all, how much do you know already? If that's your axes between simple and complex, you need to work out how much do you know already. If you don't know anything at all, you have to start at the very tip of simple. Keep it as simple as possible, because if you try reading something too complex or doing something too complex, you're going to really struggle. So keep it simple. If you know a lot more, you move your way down that axis even. And you will come across more and more complex material because your understanding is greater. You also need to know, why are you doing this particular task? Are you there trying to test yourself to see how much do you know? Or are you trying to acquire new knowledge? You need to think about what you know in terms of the qualifiers that you're going to set. If you know a lot about a subject, then you're going to know quite a lot of those qualifiers already, or at least some of the information in that. If you don't know anything at all, you need to learn about those things in your qualifiers before you can even start doing your task. If you don't know an awful lot, you want to really avoid absolutely everything that's in the must not have part of the question. Don't waste any time at all on must not haves. You need to streamline things. And even the may haves, if you don't know a lot, try and avoid the may haves. Just stick to what is in the main qualifiers so that you can spend all your time on the real meat of what you have to do. If you know a lot already, you can include things in the may-haves to show off your knowledge. But it's all about streamlining the question process. Use what you know already to work out what you need to have in the question stage. Where are you as a learner? Do you have little knowledge or lots of knowledge? Keep it simple or add more complex material if you need to. Sort out your qualifiers first, then as you have more knowledge or you want to show that knowledge off, then you can include the may-haves. Whatever you do for both of those categories, avoid the do not haves. Don't waste time on that at all. There's another area where we use the axes to grind in QWERTY, and that's at the wonder stage, when you're looking for ideas. You're looking for ideas in as many places as possible. You may already be using the more inspiration forget-me-not. That's one of the tools in the farmer's toolkit. But it helps, axes to grind helps you in combination with more inspiration, particularly in the research category. That's where you're going to look for ideas in books or on the web to help you. But you need to think again, where are you on those axes? If you don't know much, keep it simple. If you know more, then you can go further down. Keep it specific when you can, and only broadening out once you have a good base of knowledge. So if you think about it, when you're trying to find ideas, start, if you have no previous knowledge, start specific and then move general. Similarly, as you get more knowledge, widen out. So if you have what you already know, you have to think about what I want to know, but also the subtext of, why am I doing this? So if you're trying to acquire knowledge, that's very different from if you want to show off the knowledge that you have. So think about your teasels. What job are the teasels doing, those clusters of knowledge? Are you using all those hooks to bring out what you already know so that you can think of all those wonderful ideas that are hooked on to what you know already? All these different avenues that you could explore because of what you know already. Or do you need to use that to hook things on? This is your ideas stage. You're not trying to learn the knowledge at this point. You're trying to see what you've got in here already that could give you ideas. And use that in your research to find all sorts of unusual and different things that you could add to your list of ideas. So if you're looking at the routes to knowledge, yes, in a very simple term, you could go straight from where you are now to what you want to know. As the crow flies, or that lovely straight, long Roman road. But we're at the thinking stage. We're at the wondering stage where we're trying to find ideas. If you go straight from A to B in the fastest time possible, how many ideas are you actually coming up with? And how rich are those ideas in terms of what you're going to take on next? You could take the motorway route. It's still fast, but it's longer than the absolute straight path. But that's going to give you ideas as well. And if you've got a deadline that you're going for, that's a good route to take. It's still giving you ideas, but you're going fairly rapidly. If you've got more time, taking the country route, where you're going by different ways, that will give you a lot more ideas. It's a lot richer. So if you take the example, for instance, of say you want to know about Egypt, like our daughter did in year 5, she was finding out about the Egyptians. The first thing is, okay, you want to find out about Egypt. We went straight to mummies. That's what her topic was. She didn't waste time finding out about all sorts of other things about how they lived and what they ate and what they did in different time periods. She went straight to the period that she wanted and she found out about mummies. She could find out fairly quickly ideas about mummies, about the process of taking out the major organs and the bandages and the sarcophagi. But to do something really interesting, looking for ideas, well, she's thinking, well, wait a minute, okay, if I take that more complex route, what about taking the mummies and thinking about, well, which organs and what do I do with them? The Coptic jars and how they were decorated. Why were they decorated that way? How does that relate to what the Egyptians believed in? What about the bandages? What were they made from? How did they decorate each sarcophagus? Was it a set way or were there different ways? What about the Book of the Dead? All of these are little detours on her country road to get to where she wanted to know. If she had the time, they all gave her wonderful ideas that she could explore and possibly put together at later stages of QWERTY. But at the wondering stage, it's all about ideas. Use your axes to grind to say, where can I find the most ideas in the quickest way? So you're efficient in the research that you're doing, but you're looking at the research that will give you the most ideas for the amount of time spent. So, axes to grind. Keep it simple where you can, working your way down to complex as your knowledge increases. Keep it specific where you can, widening out as you have time and interest. Use it to prepare your question so you have a nice, neat question because you've thought about what you know already and where to get to where you need to be. and then you use it for finding as many ideas as possible without wasting any of your wondering time on non-essentials. Let's go.